Right now, till January the 1st, you can save 20% using my code GTVR on tons of Quest games, and in my opinion, 2025 has been an amazing year for standalone VR. So in today's video, I wanted to update my top 10 games for MetaQuest, but also ask you, what's your top 10 VR games right now? And take a moment to let me and others know your picks down in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button, as this really helps exposure of the video, and get subscribed as we near the colossal 100,000 subscriber mark. In at number 10, we have Metro Awakening, made by Vertigo Games in collaboration with Deep Silver. And as a fan of all the other Metro games, this was a great VR entry into the series with a spin-off story called Awakening, and it delivered exactly what I was hoping for. It's an atmospheric first-person shooter with tons of jump scares, excellent weapons, and a lengthy campaign with awesome graphics. You get to wear the iconic gas mask and then rub moisture off your visor. You get to reload the awesome Shambler shotgun, get hands-on with the Helsing crossbow, and physically having to charge your battery light was some of the best moments for me in VR playing Metro Awakening. There's lots of iconic monsters from Metro here too, and a spider level which caused some people to freak out so badly the developers had to update the game to give players the option to skip this part entirely. It's not really a fast-paced shooter, but there are cinematic moments like using the minigun to fight off hordes of Nasalis, and most of the time you'll be collecting ammo and fighting human bandits. But there's definitely moments like the section when you're locked in a room taking on tons of lurkers that will be charging at you from all different directions that are very memorable. Figuring out which game was going to be number 10 on this list has been very tough. In fact, the whole list has been tough overall, but Metro I feel deserves to be in this list for 2025. In at number 9, we have Ghost Town from Fireproof Games. It's a VR puzzle horror, but it is light on scares, and instead has a great atmosphere and some of the best graphics I've seen on MetaQuest 3. You step into the shoes of Edith Penrose, a witch turned ghost hunter in the 1980s, and what starts off with you helping spirits move on into the afterlife soon turns into a fantastic supernatural adventure with photorealistic environments, incredible lighting, and the developer cleverly captured the 80s vibe in your London flat, which is also your base of operations, filled with CRTs, VCRs, and the music and voice acting is delivered really well. There's one particular part in this game where the attention to detail was absolutely insane, and that is in the Warlocks Museum, where I spent at least 20 minutes just checking out all the creepy things this guy collected over the years with tons of interactable artifacts. It's still a puzzle game at heart, but it doesn't feel like your typical room-to-room puzzle game, as they blend these puzzles into the story, and this story lasts around 5 hours. Overall, Ghost Town is an absolute must-play for anyone with a VR headset. In at number 8, we have Demeo Battlemarked from Resolution Games, and they've officially brought Dungeons & Dragons to VR, which can be played solo or of course multiplayer. And as a fan of the Demeo series, I honestly feel this is the best game Resolution have ever made. Demeo is a great strategy game, but I always felt it was best played with other players, as there wasn't really much of a campaign or story. But this definitely isn't the case with Battlemarked. The inclusion of Dungeons & Dragons gives you epic places to visit, lots of characters with tons of well-acted voice dialogue, and an actual story with multiple locations to visit which can be done in any order of your choosing. There's multiple storybooks to unlock, and for the first time, character customization. You can pick one of the 7 to 8 adventurers to then invest XP that you get from playing the game into progression of that character, and then unlock or improve their abilities. The graphics are lovely with some nice environment animations, and overall it's been a massive and welcome surprise to an already stellar VR game lineup on the MetaQuest. In at number 7, we have the MetaQuest version of Arken Age, and it's up there as one of the best PCVR and PSVR 2 ports to a standalone device I've ever seen. Arken Age has excellent VR mechanics with full body presence, and everything feels solid to the touch. You embody a lean, muscular alien warrior on a mission to save a planet and its inhabitants from the invading Hyperion army, uncovering a story through memories with gorgeous environments and excellent music. The combat is engaging and rewarding, blending shooting and physical attacks, deep weapon customization thanks to the many mods and blueprints you'll find on your adventure, and all of this fuels your progression through the 6 to 8 hour campaign, which also has some boss encounters and a new game plus mode for replayability. There's some light platforming and puzzles and secondary objectives. There's also a handy fast travel and hidden relics for bonus gear like the Ritual Dagger. It's got great performance with no asynchronous space warp, and includes creator tools like the live camera mode, making this one of the best Quest games to play in 2025. In at number 6, we have Marvel's Deadpool VR, and this is Meta's flagship game for Quest 3 and Quest 3S, developed by Twisted Pixel for 2025. Deadpool delivers fast-paced, over-the-top action with colourful and violent comic book styling, featuring some epic cinematics, 5 boss battles, and 4 Mojo Arena modes like Capture the Flag and Deathmatch, but this has a Deadpool-style twist. Your in-game combos charge a special meter, and when it's activated, you get access to epic weapons like Thor's hammer and Gambit's explosive playing cards. You obviously have Deadpool's regenerative limbs, there's some minor platforming, and tons of level specific weapons including Deadpool swords, guns and outfits that can all be purchased via Mojo coins that you earn by streaming your over-the-top violence to Mojo's live viewers. It's a very straightforward A to B adventure, but it does include collectible comics, Marvel cameos like the epic Ghost Rider, and has an 8 to 10 hour campaign where you have to capture famous Marvel villains for Mojo's Deadly Game Show. There's also some replayability where you can play through the entire game again using alternative universe Deadpools like Lady Deadpool. The frame rate is pretty solid and the foveated rendering is cleverly hidden, and the diverse environments range from ancient Japan to outer space. When you use your special weapons, you're treated to some licensed 90s music, which is a great nod to the latest Wolverine and Deadpool film. Overall, Twisted Pixel knocked it out the park with this one, and it's definitely a must-have for Marvel fans. Since 2023, I've been using VR Rock's lens insert for when I use my Quest 3 and PSVR 2, mainly to avoid damaging the actual lenses, but they also filter out blue light. VR Rock also make custom prescription lenses, which is exactly what I recommend versus trying to wear glasses in VR. They clip into place and have never fallen out thanks to using a magnetic design, plus they have ultra slim frames so they won't affect your field of view. Basically, I use these every single day, and best of all, I don't notice they're even there. So if you click the link in this video description and use the code GamertagVR, you'll save 10%, get some fantastic lenses and support the channel. In at number 5 we have Assassin's Creed Nexus, which was seen as a failure by Ubisoft after selling only 250,000 copies, even though it reviewed very well with press and social media. But since its release back in 2023, it's now become one of MetaQuest's best-selling games of all time, breaking into the top 50, and it has remained one of my personal favourites to revisit. Personally, I think it's got gorgeous graphics, and they cleverly ported the parkour movement to VR, making it easy to traverse the environments but still kept it fun. Becoming Ezio for the first time and seeing the blades spring from your wrists and jump from rooftops to do the iconic stealth takedown is pretty unforgettable. You also get to embody 2 more characters spanning across 17 chapters, and it easily has over 12 hours of gameplay. Unfortunately, Ubisoft never updated it for the Quest 3, so you do end up getting some frame rate stutters in the larger opening levels, but nothing was left out for the VR version and still stands as the best Assassin's Creed game I've ever played. In at number 4 we have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, especially after the Quest 3 enhancements, which made a massive improvement over the Quest 2 version, especially in the number of zombies on screen. Saints and Sinners is seen by many as one of VR's essential games, and is still one of the best, if not the best, zombie survival game we've ever had in VR. It's got a lengthy campaign with multiple story arcs, fantastic stabbing mechanics, physical interactions, and tons of weapons which all feel great to use. There's also lots of gear and blueprint crafting recipes, and it set a benchmark for many VR games in terms of mechanics going forward. I often revisit this one and wonder if Skydance will ever return to the series to make up for what was a lackluster second helping with Chapter 2. But if they do ever watch this, Skydance, please bring back the chainsaw, because I thought that was absolutely awesome. In at number 3 we have this superb port of Capcom's Resident Evil 4 done by Armature Studios. The original Resident Evil 4 is one of my favourite games of all time, especially on the Nintendo GameCube, and I think the developers nailed everything I loved about the flat screen version, making this the best version of the original Resident Evil 4 I've ever played. Now there's a few ways to make this even better to play today. One of them is using Quest Optimizer, where you can up the frame rate and the resolution, but there's also now a Resident Evil 4 definitive mod, which adds all the original effects back into the game, along with bloom effects, better blood, overhauled player and character models, metallic objects look shinier, you get better scopes, improved geometry and other game modes. Even without any of that though, the Mercenaries mode is enough to keep me coming back playing even today. Overall, I feel Resident Evil 4 is an essential MetaQuest title. In at number 2 we have Forefront from Triangle Factory, and I doubt many people were expecting this to be in my top 10, let alone at number 2, but it's been one of my favourite VR games to play this year, especially online, and I think the developers completely nailed bringing Battlefield into VR. Even though it's still in early access, it already has so much replayability, and they expanded the maps from the original 2 in the beta to 4 for the early access release. There's currently 4 classes available: Assault, Medic, Engineer and Recon, which you can earn XP with, unlocking up to 21 weapons, each with their own upgrades. The VR boots on the ground experience is fantastic, but the vehicles and partly destructible environments make it insanely immersive when you're actually on the battlefield. And there's a lot of updates still to come, including redefined controls, better animations, better hit registration, more vehicles, gadgets, maps, a team deathmatch mode, a skin store, and eventually player bots. If you're not playing this already on the Quest, you're really missing out. And that brings me to my number 1 MetaQuest game, and that's none other than Camouflage's Batman Arkham Arkham Shadow. I believe this is technically one of the best MetaQuest 3 games ever made, with stunning visuals that come close to PCVR and PSVR 2, and it's set a very high bar for standalone VR. A full Arkham game with a 10-hour story packed with side quests, collectibles, challenges, cameos, the maze-like Blackgate prison, and the dark and dirty streets of Gotham just make this an incredible game to explore. The combat has many people divided, but I think they nailed it perfectly, using a lock-on system to create combos that flow into the 50+ numbers, especially when you start using Batman's gadgets, and there's some epic boss fights. Since the original release, the developers added Predator maps inspired by Arkham Asylum, City and Origins, an extreme difficulty, the I Am Knight Permadeath New Game Plus mode, which unlocks the Prestige Gold Batsuit, and more polish, improving the gliding haptics and leg animations, bringing the total number of bug fixes to date well into the 500s. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.